Hello again. So, sorry about yesterday. I was in a little bit of pain and I kind of zoned out and I forgot to record my notes. So today I'll try to capture both for yesterday and today, days 6 and 7. I'll try to be brief, but there's all kinds of stuff going on, so we'll see how long this takes. Thank you everybody for watching, and hopefully this is interesting and this is helpful, and for those who are interested in my life, this is truly what's happening. All right, so let's start with yesterday. Yesterday I had a very, very busy day. I met with my entire home visiting staff. So that was my nurse, my physical therapist, PT, and my occupational therapist, OT. So they all came to visit at different times throughout the day, and each one of them brought with her slightly different perspective. I got my blood pressure measured 3 times, my temperature measured 3 times, and my oxygen and my heart rate. They all repeat the same thing over and over again. That's part of their process. It's absolutely fine. It's not a problem, but it does get a little bit at some point it does get a little bit annoying because it's the same thing over and over. But my nurse was supposed to take out my stitches for where my my tubes, my drainage tubes were at. Unfortunately, we weren't sure whether the area was inflamed or not. So she opted to call the doctor and ask for advice. Instead of giving her advice, they called me back and basically said that they wanted to see me. They weren't sure based on her description what was going on, so they preferred just to see me, and they scheduled an appointment for me for today. So today I did go and meet with staff and met with my surgeon as well, who said that I was looking very well, all things considered. And they did take out those stitches, and so I'm free of any stitches. The only thing that's left is just the magic crazy glue, surgical crazy glue. Other than that, I got to meet with my physical therapist and get some exercises that I should do. We talked about a few exercises to get me a little bit stronger, primarily on the bottom part of my body. The top part of my body is still very, very limited in anything that it's supposed to do. No pulling, no pushing, no lifting. But I can do step-ups, and I could do sit to stand exercises as well as heel lifts. So that's going to be a little bit of a routine that I put for myself, and I'm going to try to do that at least once a day. I haven't got a chance to do that today because I went out and visited with the doctor, but it's still early. I may get to that before I go to bed. One of the things that I spoke with the nurse yesterday was about this weird feeling that I'm getting in my chest area, where it feels like now with the added range of movement, I mentioned this in I think a previous a previous message. I get these bone on bone friction actions. It's like when you crack your fingers, but no noise comes out. It doesn't hurt, but it does feel like these, like two bones are like they're right next to each other, and then they kind of snap in place. It's like they're trying to be where they're supposed to be, and then they kind of snap, and now they're better off. So it's kind of a weird sensation, but today when I met with the staff, the surgical staff, they said that that's very common and I shouldn't worry about it. And all that should go away after 3 months. If I still have that kind of sensation after 3 months, then I should definitely raise it as a flag. But for right here, right now, everything is still healing. Everything is still kind of finding its proper place. So there's going to be a lot of creaking, a lot of groaning, and a lot of bones and other things in my body moving around and not necessarily being as happy as we'd like for them to be. The other thing that I did yesterday, which turned out to be actually a pretty big mistake, was I went out for a walk with my son, and I didn't properly evaluate how cold it was going to be. It was not just cold; it was windy. My ears are kind of sensitive to wind, and by the time I got back, I was winded. I was all, you know, scrunched up. My whole body was all not spasmed, but like seized up. It was hard for me to breathe, and my ears were tingling a little bit. So make sure that you take care of yourself as you're doing any kind of other activities. There really isn't. I really am now going to be super careful with anything else. I went to the doctor today, and even though it was warmer than yesterday, I put on a double jacket. I had a hat on. I was not taking any chances. I really don't want to exacerbate my situation by just catching a cold. That would really not be great for me, especially with any kind of sneezing or coughing. That just doesn't help with anything that's going on in my chest area. Last thing with regard to yesterday was that I finally gave in and admitted to myself that I don't need to be a hero. What do I mean? For the longest time, I've been trying to get off the pain meds, but I recognize that there's really no point in that. I typically don't take pain meds throughout the day. I don't need them. I wake up in the morning, I'm a little bit groggy, my body's a little bit, a little bit in pain from getting up. But as soon as I take my shower and everything else, I feel great and I feel strong and I don't feel any real pain. But as the day progresses, when I get to the nighttime, it catches up to me, and things are starting to ache and such. So I've just decided that I'll just bite the bullet and accept the fact that I will be taking some pain medications before I go to bed on a regular basis. It's just the way it is for at least for a few weeks. It's not a lot of pain medication. I'm taking 2 or 3 ibuprofens before I go to bed. It's not beyond the accepted value. It's still okay. I mentioned that to the nurse today, and she said, "Yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's not a problem." Originally, when I left the hospital, they recommended to alternate between Tylenol and Motrin, so between acetaminophen and ibuprofen. But the Tylenol really doesn't do anything for me. And the type of pain that I have, especially with my history of my back and my ribs being misaligned and all that other stuff, the anti-inflammatory in the ibuprofen works wonders. So that's what I take. That's what I'm going to stick to, and I'm going to be great, and it's going to be okay. As mentioned, today I went to see the doctor. They checked me out. I've got no real concerns or no real issues. Everything looks like I'm making progress in the right direction. My breathing is okay. One thing happened that was curious today when I was taking a shower. There was an area in my body which had the magic super glue, and it finally peeled off. What I found was really, really funny because on the looks of it, it looked like it was like this dark purplish area, but that turned out to be really just the super glue itself that was still retaining the color of when it was applied. Underneath that, it was just mildly pinkish skin. So as this super glue is going to start coming off and peeling off from my chest incision and another place like that, I am very confident that it looks a lot worse with the glue than it will be once it's done. So that's very encouraging. I've spent a few hours today in front of my computer. I have a standing station at home for my computer. I did some work for the house, paying bills and sending emails and responding to all kinds of things. Maybe not a few hours, but maybe an hour and a half accumulated. So it was 15 minutes here and then 20 minutes there and another 20 minutes here. And I'm finding that my upper right back is hurting quite a bit, and I suspect it's because of the mouse usage. My right hand is probably not as ergonomically stable as it should be. I'm going to have to look into that. It's a good reminder that ergonomics is key. And as my body is healing, it's very interesting to be reminded that I should fix this even for when I'm healed. What else? 2 more things that I'll mention today. When my sutures were removed, they mentioned they put some some antibiotic cream on my area where they removed the stitches. And what the nurse said was really interesting, that apparently there are a lot of people out there that have some intolerance to antibiotic cream. So if they use it regularly for a long period of time, they start developing rashes. So what she recommends is no more than twice a day for 3 or 4 days, and then take a pause. If your wounds don't heal after 3 or 4 days or don't look much better and the inflammation goes away, you probably want to see a doctor for that. So that maybe you need a different type of treatment. That's interesting because I've never recognized that. I've never realized that. I never assumed as much. I'm a big proponent of antibiotic creams or ointments for scrapes and wounds and things like that. Never used them for a very long time, so never really got a rash, but I didn't even realize that could happen. Okay. And the last piece that I wanted to just tap into and just kind of highlight is overdoing things. The biggest challenge that we have with this condition, for those of us who are in it, is that there is no immediate feedback for some of the things that we might be overdoing. We sometimes feel like we're strong enough and we want to continue and do stuff, but we don't realize that we might be seeing the results and the pain the next day or the day after. Because there's no immediate feedback, it's very important to try to pay attention and to listen to the doctors and just take them at face value. Even though you feel great, that doesn't mean that what you should be doing is what you are doing. That's it for today. Thank you very much for sticking around, and hopefully I'll be able to see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.